Hello, I'm Chuck Wooden, and I'm joined by my co-host, Jerry Wright, and you're watching the Veterans Corner.
Thank you, Chuck. If you haven't seen the Veterans Corner before, it's a show dedicated to our veterans, their families, and those who give support to our veteran community.
Thank you, Jerry. We have a special guest, actually from eastern side of the state, Eastern Connecticut. It's actually the Eastern Connecticut Transportation Consortium.
That's correct.
Did I say it right?
Yes.
Once in a while, it's the mouth and the brain just aren't on the same page here. But welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
To our right, we've got Lita Buttermore, and we've got Eric Fritsch. Anybody that watches this show knows that I do this all the time with names, so just it's nothing personal. Lita is the Mobility Information Specialist for Eastern Connecticut Transportation Consortium, and Eric Fritsch is the, actually, you're a veteran?
Veteran, soldier, retired, captain, U.S. Army.
Well, it's great to have you both here.
Thank you.
One thing that we usually do, just to break the ice and just let the viewers know about your military background. Lita, if you want to start, just when you served, what branch?
Right. I served in the United States Marine Corps, and I served from 2007 to 2015. I did 5 years of active duty service with Marine Corps Air Station Beaufort, and I was stationed with Max Deuce. That's a Marine Air Control Unit, and I served in Iraq in 2008 on Al-Qaeda. Did a deployment
I saw
with
your
them
bio,
there.
and there was no way I was going to try to say that word. The actual town.
Al-Qaeda.
Yeah,
short call, we call it TQ.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm going to do from now on.
TQ Iraq.
Eric.
2004, I enlisted in the Army National Guard Connecticut as infantry, and then I attended West Point and graduated. Commissioned Military Intelligence and Armor Branch. Was stationed at Fort Stewart, Georgia in the 3rd Infantry Division, and deployed to Iraq in the Mosul area, and that was in 2010. And then came home. We were a Top Gun company in our heavy infantry gunnery qualifications. Little claim to fame there. And then we deployed to Afghanistan in 2012 in the Kandahar area. Retired. And it's been in Connecticut after Savannah ever since.
On behalf of the viewers, on behalf of the crew here, Jerry and myself, we want to thank you very much for your service.
Oh, thank you. It was an honor.
Honor and privilege.
It's we're all veterans up here, and every show, probably 90% of the time, we have veterans on the show. And you know what? And we also thank the non-veterans, because they're providing a service to our veterans, the veteran community. So felt that from day one it was important to recognize that.
And the spouses and the families, they're just as much a part of the soldier that's deployed as the families.
It's that veteran community.
It's a veteran community.
Veteran families and all that. Well, with that being said, we've got a lot to talk about.
Okay.
So Jerry, you want to start?
Well, could you tell us a little bit about your organization?
Sure. It's ECTC for short, but that stands for Eastern Connecticut Transportation Consortium, and we were a nonprofit organization that was founded in 1992, and our purpose is we brokerage and provide transportation services across the Eastern Connecticut area. We're located in the American Jobs Center right there in Uncasville, beside of Walgreens, 601 Norwich, New London Turnpike. So anyone can come into the American Jobs Center and ask us about questions that they have with transportation.
If the viewers didn't get that address, we're going to repeat that at the end of the show.
Certainly.
So if you want to grab a pen, pencil to write with, we'll have more information on how to get in touch with you.
Of course.
Now, can you tell the viewers about the transportation services in your area that might be helpful for low-income veterans or other individuals that are having difficult time getting to work or job searching, or any transportation for that matter?
Well, we do have a Rides for Jobs program, and that program is specifically catered to those that are working on transportation for work purposes. So that's one of the many programs that we offer, and I'll talk about the other ones as we go along. But the Rides for Jobs program helps out people that are searching out transportation, whether they're job searching, job training, job interviewing, and for their first 60 days of employment as well. So that's a program that really helps veterans get started as they're transitioning from active duty back into the civilian world.
So what's the requirements for the program? You got to have rules and regulations? You have a
Yes, so it's based off of income, and you can find all of those type of qualifications on our website, which is ECTCinc.org. You're going to hear that a lot throughout this interview. We're really promoting it because we just revamped the entire website to make it more user-friendly.
And like we spoke earlier, is once the show is completed, it will be on Facebook. We have our own Facebook page.
Okay, fantastic.
A lot of us put it on our own private pages, and that's been the the mission of the show, to get exposure for everyone out there that does stuff for provide services for our veterans. So. Once being on the show, obviously we're going to promote you as much as we possibly can.
Thank you.
And whenever you have events that go on, shoot us a flyer. And
Absolutely.
We'll put it on the Facebook page itself.
Fantastic.
We have the viewers in this area. It's a large area. 8 communities, but it's also seen statewide, and it's also on YouTube. As we were discussing earlier, Jerry, I mean, this show is being seen as far away as California.
Oh, wow.
So, so I mean, it gets out there, and it's a great venue here to get your word out. Eligibility, did we talk about that?
Yes, the eligibility requirements, they're found on the website, but it's basically a program that's geared towards low-income individuals that are trying to enter or re-enter the workforce. So we offer 60 days of free transportation back and forth with their job, and we offer unlimited amounts of rides for someone who's job training or job seeking or interviews. We'll transport them as many times as necessary to help them get that transportation.
That's great.
So what type of services are used to transport these individuals?
Fantastic. That's where ECTC comes in, and we work as the broker to find the most cost-effective method of transportation for that. And we issue bus passes if they are close to the fixed bus route. If they're working a shift or they're living in an area that's outside of the fixed bus route, then we'll provide like taxi services, livery services if necessary. And then we also offer, recently created a grassroots program called the Bike Voucher Program, and that's a more eco-friendly option as things are going more green.
Yeah, that's something we were talking about earlier. Can you go into that a little bit as far as how the program works, the bike voucher?
Certainly. So the way that it works is you have to be referred by a social worker or caseworker, and if you don't have one already, you can get a caseworker or social worker at the American Job Center. And you don't have to come to the one in Uncasville. There are other locations that you can go to across Connecticut.
Okay, that's you wanna jump into that?
Is there a cost to the riders?
No, there is not a cost to the riders while they're job seeking or job training, or while they're getting back and forth to work. That is covered by the Connecticut Department of Transportation. So that's what the government grant is used to do, is to cut that cost for them, to give them an opportunity to save up so that maybe they could purchase their own transportation or get back on their feet.
Yeah. That was one of the questions that I was actually going to ask toward the end about the funding and all that. That was one of my original questions.
Yes, we're funded from the Connecticut Department of Transportation for this.
So that's great.
Well, I have another question I'd like to ask. How many people does it take to run this organization? I mean, you're talking taxis and buses and bikes and paperwork and community
yes.
service. I mean, how big is your staff?
We actually have a fairly small staff. We have less than 10 people there at ECTC, but we
Subcontracted
we subcontract work, certainly.
Yeah.
But ECTC themselves is a very small nonprofit organization, and we're just trying to get the word out there to people who don't know about us just yet.
And if I recall right, I was looking at some of the paperwork. You were saying, what, since 92?
Yes, 1992 is when they were founded.
No, it's, what about individuals that have their own car that could drive themselves? I mean, it could be in a shop or something.
Certainly, for the Rides for Jobs program, if they have their own car and they're taking their own vehicle back and forth to work, we have two different options. We can do car mileage reimbursement, which is reimbursed at the IRS rate at 58 cents a mile, and they submit a reimbursement form to their caseworker, who then faxes it over to us, and we reimburse them. They just get a check in the mail for their costs. And then we also have a car-based solutions side. And the car-based solutions is up to $1,000 over the course of their lifetime. We'll pay 90% of bills that they have to get that car roadworthy. This includes everything from back taxes, whether they have like license restoration fees,
Whatever it may be.
car repairs, back taxes. It varies. Different requests require different things, but it's up to $1,000 over the course of a lifetime, and we pay 90% of the bill for a car-based solution if they already have. The only requirement is that they have to own the car. The car does have to be in their name.
Okay. What can ECTC do for someone who is unable to obtain a license or a vehicle?
Fantastic question. So this is where we were talking about the grassroots program that John created. John DeRude, my director, he created a program called the Bike Voucher Program. And if someone's unable to obtain a license and they live within a 3/4 mile radius of either a fixed bus route or from where they work, a lot of individuals are starting to live closer to work, we can provide them a bike. And what they do is they take the individual that applies through their caseworker, they go to Walmart, they pick out their own bike, brand new right there, they get to make their own choice, and then we provide them with a bike repair kit, a flat tire repair kit, safety gear, lights for their bike, even a water bottle holster. And then on top of all of that, we also give them links to a website that has bike repair information and how they can do it themselves to do minor bike repairs. And they get like a little safety briefing on how to maintain road safety. Yeah, so it's a really great eco-friendly option that we've got. And we've already, just last year was our first year doing it, distributed over 30 bikes. And we've just restarted this fiscal year, and already 10 bikes have gone out the door.
Wow.
In just the past couple months.
Successful program.
And it's growing by the day. So many people are very interested in getting these green, eco-friendly options.
And that's, I mean, where do you find most of it? Is it in the Norwich area?
It varies.
We
have individuals out of the Norwich area, but it does vary. But usually it's in more congested cities like that.
Yeah.
People with a higher pedestrian rate, of course.
Maybe New London.
New London as well.
Yeah. So with a staff of 10, how do you follow up on everything? It's just, what happens to the bikes after the 3rd year out? Do they have to give them back when they find it?
No, absolutely not. The bike is for work, so we hope that it helps them obtain and maintain their job. So it's type of transportation job security. And what we do is after they've had the bike for about a month or so, we'll conduct a survey with them. We'll give them a call, give them or their caseworker a call, and just follow up with them and ask them if they still have the bike, if the bike allowed them to maintain their employment. We ask if they're using the bike along with the fixed bus route, because, I forgot to mention, along with the bike comes a lock kit, so that you can lock up your bike and chain it and take it port it with you on the bus. And so we ask if they're using it in conjunction with public transportation. And then we also just follow up to help see if the bike has helped them out with other errands or other things that they may have locally. Case in point, I actually ran into someone who got a bike at the grocery store. I was there getting some groceries and noticed someone putting groceries in their bag and getting onto a bike, and I asked where they got the bike, and they said that they had got it through ECTC, which was us. So I was really impressed to find out someone was using it and it was helping them with their day-to-day life.
It's got to bring a smile to your face.
It definitely
I
does.
mean, it's rewarding knowing that, I mean, the program is working. I mean, you see the numbers, but when you hear the stories coming back, it's got to make you feel good.
It does. It's
Would you ever branch out to a scooter? Because the scooters are 50cc, they don't need to be registered. Is that something they would think about, or have they?
I think that that's been discussed before. I'm not sure that that's currently in the works right now.
It might be more of a liability issue.
I believe that that is something they were running
And
into
they're
with
about
that.
$1,400 each, so.
They're quite expensive.
A little bit more than a bike.
they don't really-
You know, what are some of the new services available to disabled individuals that may need transportation outside, you know, the service, you know, hours and geographic areas?
Certainly. So we have the accessible travel voucher program, and it works in conjunction with taxis. We started out with just one taxi service, but now we've gotten up to 6. And it works with A Taxi, ARWA, Curtin Livery, Putnam Taxi, Wright Transportation, and even Yellow Cab. And they accept these vouchers, same as cash, and the vouchers have a cost and a value side. So the value is how much the vouchers are worth, and the cost is how much it costs for the person to obtain them. And the cost is 50% less than the value. So basically, in other words, they get a 50% discount on their taxi ride if they are disabled or a senior. They fill out an application. The application can again be found on our website. It's ectcinc.org, and right there on the third toggle down under More, you'll see the travel voucher program. Underneath that, at the very bottom, is the referral guide, and it explains all the guidelines, and at the back it has the application. It's a front and back one-page application, very simple. It just needs to be signed off by a doctor, but don't let that confuse you. You don't have to set up a separate doctor's appointment. You can always just fax it to your doctor and they'll fax it back over to us.
Great, great.
Can you tell me about any other transportation project or agency is working on that could benefit seniors, individuals with disabilities, or even veterans? I mean, that's
Certainly.
Very
So the
important,
Rides for
too.
Jobs helps with veterans. We've noticed an influx in veterans having to struggle in the transition from military to civilian life and needing help with work transportation. So the Rides for Jobs is very helpful there. But we also offer the travel voucher program, which helps disabled veterans because it's persons that are disabled or seniors. So if a veteran has a disability or if they're a senior, they can utilize that program. But then we also offer, if you live in certain areas, and I can list those areas off in just a moment. If you live in certain areas, we offer caregiver mileage reimbursement. So for veterans that are traveling far for doctor's appointments and they have family members or friends that are taking them, we'll reimburse them the same 58 cents a mile and just mail them the check straight to their house. They sign up at the local senior center. At their local senior center, they just fill out an application there. We'll get the application, and then as they take their trips, they send in mileage reimbursement forms to the senior center, who then faxes them to us, and we just mail out a check for it. Because a lot of veterans are struggling with getting back and forth to medical appointments.
We hear that a lot. We hear that an
we've
awful
noticed
lot.
that the VA is not necessarily providing as much transportation as some veterans do need.
There's so many veterans out there in need of the service.
Absolutely.
And there's only so much resources that are currently in place right now. So, I mean, the services that you're providing is, I mean, it's extremely important and beneficial.
Thank you.
well, the veteran that goes from his place to the VA in West Haven or to Newington, if he's 40% disabled or more, then he gets covered for travel. So if the veteran's only 10% or 20%, this would help them to go to
Certainly.
the VA West Haven and to Newington for their appointments. It would help
Yes,
them with
they
that.
could, if they didn't have their own transportation, they could
Right.
utilize the travel vouchers to cut down the cost. And if they did have their own transportation, then they can get caregiver mileage reimbursement,
Give you knowledge.
depending on their location.
Wow, that's good to know.
Where are we at?
You said depending on location. Does that mean if they're in Norwich and they got to go to West Haven, or if they're
We
in
don't
Hartford?
service out of Norwich.
Yeah.
It does depend, and you can find out which exact towns that we cover, but
Okay.
it's for residents living, and I can list them off for you, in Bosra, East Lyme, Griswold, Ledyard, Lisbon, New London, North Stonington, Preston, Salem, Stonington, and Waterford. So out of all of those counties or
Towns.
participating towns, then we'll help them with caregiver mileage reimbursement. Or for $24, they can sign up with their senior center and have rides provided to them. And if they're doing like local transportation, so that equates to $2 a ride.
Yeah.
And that includes wheelchair accessibility if they should need it.
A lot of those communities that you mentioned were more rural,
Yes.
out of the way area.
That's what we're trying to service, because there's not as much public transportation there for them to take advantage
A lot of
of.
those communities, there's none.
Exactly. We also even offer a NEST program that we have, and that's for people living in the more northeastern area. And through that program, they can get free travel vouchers
Great.
that work the same way as the 50% off travel vouchers. It's just up in northeastern Connecticut, there is absolutely no public transportation for them to use at all. There's nothing there, so we got a grant in order to help those individuals out.
Yeah. You know, this is one of those shows, and we run into this all the time, where we can actually make this a two-parter. There's so much information that actually there's so many questions that we wanted to ask. I'm getting a word. We've got 3 minutes left. I mean, it goes
Oh,
by
wow.
fast.
Okay.
You know, there's a bunch of questions that we wanted to ask. Is there anything that you'd like to point out before we wrap things up?
Well, I would mostly like to leave everyone with my direct line extension, so if they have questions or anything further, my number is 860-848-5911, and our website is ECTCinc.org. And between those two things, I hope that we can answer all your questions. One of my main jobs is just to help facilitate individuals in need. Should they have any issues come up, just give me a call, and my job is to help them navigate either the website or the system if they don't have internet access.
You know, after it's aired on Nutmeg TV, it's thrown on. I shouldn't say thrown on. It's uploaded, downloaded onto YouTube.
Absolutely.
And so this show right here, you can take and share it, out the eastern part of the state, and anytime that you have information that needs to go out, contact me, and we'll have you on, and it's a great way to have some type of a show where you can show the folks in your area.
Fantastic.
So-
One of the other things that we do to reach out into the community outside of attending expos is we really try to reach out to our veterans community by going to veterans coffee houses.
Yes.
So I know that you guys are already
Jerry's
very
big in
familiar with those. So if you haven't attended one of the veterans coffee house, you're more than welcome to come. You'll likely find me there.
Okay, that's all the time we have.
Well, thank you so much
it went
for
by
having
fast,
me.
didn't it?
It did. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
It's great to have both of you. We didn't forget about you over there, Eric.
Oh, I didn't feel forgotten.
Yeah, but
I think we should have Lita back.
yeah, definitely in the winter rotation.
All right. Thank
In the
you.
winter rotation, we'll have you back and speak some more. We've only got about 30 seconds left. I want to thank Lizzie Crawford, the director, Joe Sanborn, who's on the graphics. We have Marie Bonelli, who is on the cameras, and Ann Raftery. She is also on the cameras. Without the crew, we wouldn't have the show. So thank you for being here. That's all the time we have. We want to thank the viewers for watching and tuning in. I'm Chuck Wooden.
And I'm Jerry Wright.
Good night, and we'll see you next time on the Veterans Corner.